Hello, Internet. I'm going to scooch this a little bit to the side and just get set up here. So welcome to a new thing I'm trying to do. We'll see how this goes, see if you guys like it or not. We'll find out. And so this series that I'm going to be doing at least probably till the end of the year, unless it totally flops, we'll see. This series is going to be called Sunday Service, aka Witch Church. And so the whole point of this segment is to do something a little bit more participatory than my typical podcast where I'm just kind of like speaking into the abyss. And I do know that some people really enjoy video content of someone babbling. And so that is what this is going to be, because I do want to keep my podcast like audio focused. So what is Sunday service going to be? What is the point of these little live streams that I'm going to be doing? So the point of these, obviously, there's going to be that participatory element where you guys can comment and just have a discussion with me about whatever the topics are that I'm bringing up. And the point of these is to talk about issues within the witchcraft space, issues within witch community, just stuff that is kind of on my mind and on my heart and etc. And so just like have a bit of a little community chat about it. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun. So sometimes it'll be about witchcraft and magic. Sometimes it'll be about something different. And I'm open to your requests and suggestions. But for today, our topic is going to be terminally online witchcraft culture and witch wars and witch hunts. So as I was slowly waking up today, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to talk about today on this live stream? I was thinking about a reel that I made kind of spur of the moment a few days ago. And I think I'm going to talk about the topic of the reel probably next weekend, if you guys are interested. And the reel basically was a response to another reel that I saw that I thought was like very dumb. But ultimately, like, it wasn't only about that. Like, it wasn't just about that one thing that I saw, even though that thing was like, to me, very silly and just like blatant incorrectness everywhere. So it wasn't a response to that specifically. Like, I've seen so many people in witchcraft spaces like make a similar argument. And so I decided to like throw my hat into the internet and just share my thoughts that yes, indeed, witchcraft can be and is ancestral practice for white folks. Totally. Like, what did you think white people were doing before Christianity? It was like witchcraft, paganism, stuff like that. Contemporary pagan culture comes from white people, ancestral vibes. Like, it's kind of indisputable. You can't really argue against it. If you guys are interested, I've got like to the side like a ton of history books on this. And so I'm happy to share my sources and to give you guys some reading material, because I think everyone who does practice, you should know this. It's like pretty basic and it's interesting stuff, right? Like, it's fun to learn where these practices come from. Like, even if you're not going to be like a PhD historian, totally fair. It's not for everybody. Even if you're not going to be learned to that level where you're writing a dissertation about the history of magic, like, it is kind of cool for everyone to know, like, where did these practices come from? Like, you know, like what is the origin, you know, if there are multiple origins, or, you know, what was the culture conversation that resulted in this practice emerging, right? I think that's an important thing for all of us to be like curious about and asking and wondering about, right? I think that stuff is fun. I'm a nerd. Anyway, so I posted that and I didn't really like think much of it. You know, I just posted it, went to the gym, whatever. And some people got very grumpy with me, and I ended up blocking like pretty much everyone who was being mean, because one of the things I learned back in 2020 when like internet bitchery was like at its height, because everyone was like at home, it was COVID, everyone was under lockdown, and everyone just became kind of terminally online in this way that it was just like aggressive. Like, everyone became really comfortable being really aggressive online. And I feel like we still haven't really recovered from that, unfortunately, as a culture in general. But like, it also was such a big part of witchy culture online as well. Like, everyone was kind of being a dick to everyone all over the place. It was just a little bit ridiculous. And so anyway, I posted this thing. Some people got really like mean in my direction. And I just was like, I'm not engaging. One of my rules that I made back in 2020 was, okay, so if in order for me to have a discussion with someone who disagrees with me, they have to be curious, they have to be asking me questions, they have to not be making mean statements about me, and it can't be this like, you think this, you think that, you're this because you think this. Like, it can't be this like accusatory thing where I'm immediately put on a defensive and like have to defend myself against these things that like are not really true. Like, just like weird assumptions that someone is making. And so these people that I blocked were all like not playing by my rules of engagement. They're clearly coming at me in bad faith and just being assholes. And so I just blocked everybody. And so what happened next was, I guess they sent their little like friends, one of which has like almost 200,000 followers on Instagram, to like slander me as well. So that's fun. And I blocked that person too, obviously. And I just didn't engage. And so one thing I think a lot of people who are consumers of online witchcraft culture like don't really know is that behind the scenes, like a lot of these people that are in positions of leadership are actually like, they're not really exhibiting like leadership behavior behind the scenes. Like, they are really mean, they are like very cliquey, they are like, if you don't play by their little clique rules, they're going to insult you. Like, I even had someone, this is a funny story. I don't think I've really told this story publicly. I'm not going to name names. But there was someone whose friend, I guess, I called out for like not really knowing what she was talking about a topic that I was quite well versed in. And I noticed that some of her content was like a little bit like white supremacy, and like that's not really like cool in my opinion at all. And so I called that out, and someone in this clique of famous witch people insulted me like all over Twitter when that was a thing, and blocked me on Instagram, and I guess like forgot that I existed or something. Because a few years later, this person like featured my book as a part of their book club and like said it was really nice, which I really appreciate that. Like, that's really nice. Like, I'm really honored about that this person liked my book. But it's like, this person probably didn't even realize that, she had like blocked me on everything and excommunicated me from everything a few years ago for calling out this person that ended up being dropped from the publishing company later on because, the white supremacist stuff that this person was spouting had come out more publicly. And so I was right at the end of the day. And so I really hate that behind the scenes, like a lot of the witchcraft community in the leadership space, like a lot of people are just assholes. And to me, like, that's really not what witchcraft is about, like, at all. Like, whatsoever. Which is why I don't participate in any of that stuff. Like, you won't see me getting sucked into any of that like witch war bullshit. Like, even in this video, I'm not naming names, and I'm not going to. If anyone does name names, you're going to be deleted, because that's not really what this is about. What I'm pointing out here is more about these structures of behavior and like these patterns of behavior and like the cliquiness and the nastiness and all of that. And so I've been thinking, like, what is that about? Like, I think part of it is just the terminally online culture where everyone just is so enraged all the time, which I think is such a sad way to live. And I was wondering, like, okay, so is this a part of witchcraft culture or is this a part of online culture? And one of the things I was thinking about is witchcraft in and of itself, ultimately it's supposed to be an empowering practice, right? That's part of the point. It's something that we do to connect with the universe. We empower ourselves by connecting with our own personal power to create change in our life. Super beautiful thing to do. It's a big part of my PhD dissertation where I'm talking about witchcraft as a methodology of trauma healing. So I do believe that witchcraft is empowering, right? And so it makes sense that a lot of people who are feeling disempowered in some way would be attracted to witchcraft and magic, and then are unfortunately acting out in the most like unempowered, fucked up ways, because it really only is like insecure people who are, dragging like fellow community leaders' names in the mud and just insulting everyone all over the place. Like, that is not like what healthy, secure people really do. Like, healthy, secure people are much more interested in ideas and being constructive and working together. And there's room for everyone to succeed. And I really strongly believe that in the witchcraft space, there is room for everyone to succeed. And there's room for everyone to create their own niche, you know? Like, that's part of why this space is so interesting, is that everyone's practice can be 100% unique. And I think that's amazing. And I hate that a lot of these folks are just so insecure that they want to just slander whoever, or they want to crush whoever. And I think a lot of people who are observers and consumers of the witchcraft space online, like, don't really realize that a lot of their favorite witchy famous people on the internet have made their following based on engaging in drama. And so, isn't that interesting? And it's just disempowered behavior. And it makes me so sad, because it's like, this is not what witchcraft is about. Like, witchcraft is ultimately about like personal empowerment and connecting with the land and connecting with our ancestry and healing our lineages of shit and empowering ourselves. Historically, I was talking with a friend about this last night. Witchcraft has always kind of been about survival and helping us meet our basic needs. It was like, let's do some magic to make sure our crops grow and the rain happens like just the right amount, and fertility and money and love and all of these things that were about sustenance, right? Making sure that our lives are improving, making sure that our family is healthy and protected. A lot of historical witchcraft stuff is around protection from bad vibes, from illness, from all of that stuff, and from ensuring the abundance of crops. Like, a lot of the historical witchcraft stuff is about that. It's about survival. And unfortunately, I think a lot of folks in the online space have forgotten like what witchcraft is actually about. Like, it's not about being the most woke person on the internet. Like, it's not about having the most Instagram followers. Like, it's not about like being a guru. And like, I know it sounds kind of ironic for me to say that, since I guess I am kind of like a whatever leader person in this space who is saying my ideas and my teachings, and I do think what I have to say is relevant, so it might be a bit ironic for me to be saying that. But ultimately, like, my work is about helping everyone find the guru within themselves, finding that sense of spiritual leadership within yourself. And that's going to be really different from how my practice looks. And that's amazing. Like, I think that's great. Like, everyone has a unique spiritual blueprint that is going to be resonant with them, that is going to be their way that they practice based on their unique heritage, their unique interests, all of that stuff. And we are all unique in this way. And I think witchcraft is so amazing because it does open up space for so many different types of ways to practice. Like, I think that's so cool. And unfortunately, I am seeing like a lot of shit online where it's like, if you are not, like, if your witchcraft is not like, I don't even remember, resisting the man, then like you're not a real witch. Like, I should try to like find screen cap for you guys and read it out. Actually, I shouldn't do that. I'll just summarize it. It's like, I don't really like want to put this person on blast. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, this person can write whatever they want. That's cool. It's just not, I just don't agree. And so I have seen an increasing number of people be like, if you're not doing anti-oppressive witchcraft work all the time, then like, who is your witchcraft really serving? And witchcraft has always been about resistance. And if you're not resisting whatever the cool thing to resist is today, then you're not a real witch. And I just think that is so bullshit. Like, witchcraft ultimately is about what is our relationship to the land, our ancestors, ourself. Are we surviving? Are we thriving? Are our ancestors fed and watered and healing? That is ultimately what witchcraft is about. And unfortunately, I see a lot of people online like try to say there's only one way to be a witch. I think that's complete BS. And it's harmful and just wrong. And it's a way to self-aggrandize, which I don't agree with at all. And I really don't think it's everyone's path in this lifetime to be like super political. You know, I think there is room for that. Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, by all means, go for it. Like, knock yourself out, have fun. Like, I'll support you. I think it's great. But that is not everyone's work to be doing. That is not what everyone feels resonant with. You know what I mean? For some people, hello, Awas. Let's see if I'm bringing her up here. Well, this is my oldest baby, my grumpy old lady. It is not everyone's path to be doing like political magic. You know what I mean? And if it is your path, I think that's really cool. Like, go for it. But for a lot of us, that is not our path. Or maybe it is your path at one point and then your path changes. And that's completely normal too. And I just really don't like this hierarchy that a lot of people are pushing online in the witchcraft space right now, where it's like, if your magic isn't ABC, then you're not a real witch. Or if your skin color is this, you're not a real witch. Like, I don't give a shit who practices. I don't care what your background is. I don't care. Like, do your thing. It's all good. Like, everyone is welcome here, and every type of practice is also welcome here, in my opinion. Like, you can have any type of politics and be a witch. You can have a practice that is completely political and be a witch. And you can have a practice that is kind of more focused on you and be a witch. And all of that is legit. All of that is valid. And what I think is really interesting is that a lot of these people who have this kind of like political outward focused witchcraft, like, not to steal like terminology from Jordan Peterson, but it's like they have not cleaned their own room. You know what I mean? It's like they want to go clean the room of the world, but they don't have their own shit in order. And so I do think witchcraft can be a tool, a really helpful tool to get our own shit in order, to clean our own room, so to speak, to heal our own brain, to heal our own ancestral lineage, our own ancestral lines of trauma, which a lot of us have. You know, a lot of us have those. And why not focus our energy on that? Healing our own attachment wounds, healing our own trauma, whether that's mental, physical, family, something else, etc. Why not focus our magic on healing ourselves? Because wherever you go, there you are. You know, if your own shit is still like bubbling within you, it's going to mean that you're going to act out and be a dick to people. And it means that you're going to be just behaving in ways that are not bringing light into the world, not to sound like a complete fucking hippie, but like, I just see so many people in this space using witchcraft as an excuse to be so nasty to other people. And I just like don't get it. I just don't get it. I was talking with a friend about this just kind of briefly last night. Who has like a way bigger social media following than me and is like so down to earth and so nice of a person. So I love that. And I was asking him, like, what do you think is up with all these people being such haters? Like, why? What do you think that's about? And his take, he shared with me a reel that he made like a few years ago. And his whole thing is like weight loss. He's like a weight loss influencer. And his reel basically was like, how he used to deal with his negative emotions by overeating food. He thinks that like these internet hater people are dealing with their negative emotions by like hating on the internet and like being dickheads online. And I was like, that makes sense. It's just really unfortunate that so many people are using their lack of healing and resolution and lack of inner peace within themselves to be like lashing out at other people. You know what I mean? Like, I would much rather these folks do something self-destructive than destructive towards other people. I just like can't vibe with that. And it's just to me, it's not what witchcraft is about. And it does also kind of remind me of the tendency of a lot of people to do magic on others rather than doing magic on yourself. And this is something I tell my students all the time. I had an interesting conversation with one of my clients recently about this, where I was like, don't be doing your spell, your love spell, on someone that you literally just met. Bad. No, don't do that. Do a love spell on yourself to attract the right kind of person for you, and or to heal those aspects of yourself that are holding you back in love. That is what a love spell should be, in my opinion, rather than like, I want to get this person, I want to get that person. It's all an inside job. And I think a lot of people forget this. Wherever you go, there you are. That you can't travel and escape all of your typical patterns that you end up in. It is always going to follow you. Wherever you go, your own bullshit is going to follow you. And I think at its best, witchcraft helps us heal those patterns within ourselves. When witchcraft is done properly, in my opinion, witchcraft helps us heal our negative patterns. Witchcraft helps us heal our bad attachments or our lack of attachments or wounding that we felt in our family. Witchcraft helps us heal a lot of stuff if we let it. And unfortunately, I do see a lot of people, like, I don't want to sound like a dick here, but like giving witchcraft kind of a bad name and just using it to just be mean girls on the internet. And I'm just like, I'm not vibing. And it's really interesting because psychologically speaking, the research shows that men and women are actually equally aggressive, but the aggression comes out in different ways. And so with men or male energy people, the aggression comes out physically. Like it's usually like a kind of physical threat, physical violence, etc. But with women, the aggression comes out in like reputation demolishment, like trying to cancel people, like just, yeah, reputational destruction, like gossip. All of that is like female coded aggression, according to the psychological literature. This is true. And I just find it really interesting because the witchcraft community, as much as I always argue that it's not like that you can be any gender, any sex, and you can be a really successful witch. Like I strongly believe that. And I've gotten kind of excommunicated from some spaces for saying that witchcraft is not just about being a woman, which is interesting. But it's sad and interesting to me that a lot of the aggression in witchcraft spaces, like it does take on that kind of female coding of aggression. It is about like slandering other people. It is about trying to cancel other people. It is about, you know, this person sucks or blah, blah, blah. And this person said this and yada, yada. And I just find that so lame. And so if you are someone who is consuming content in the witchcraft space, like keep an eye out for that stuff. And like, I would say really ask yourself, like, is this someone that you really want to be learning from? You know, because like I'm happy to critique people. I've done so in this video. But you'll notice I haven't named any names, and that's intentional. And that's not to create gossip. It's because the names aren't important. It's because what I'm more interested in is pointing out patterns that are rampant and discussing ideas. Because for me, discussing ideas and pointing out patterns is constructive, because then we can, once we analyze it, we can understand where do people go wrong and what can we do differently. Dragging people's name in the mud is like not of interest to me. Like I'm in my 30s. And I think that's part of this like whole like online witch war culture that really disturbs me is it's like, okay, like, we could have all had excuses for behaving this way in our teens and like early 20s, but most of the people still behaving this way are like, it's like we're all grown now. Like you guys are in your 30s. Some of you guys have children. Like, can we please stop behaving in this very like bizarre way? And it's just sad to me. And I think part of it is sad to me because I've always had this fantasy of like happy witchcraft community where everyone is friends and like everyone learns from each other and everyone is cool. But I've never fucking experienced that. Like the only places that I've experienced that are in the closed communities that I've created from my own courses. That's the only space I've ever seen it. And I've been to like a bunch of witchcraft conferences and blah, 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 and in-person covens and all of that. And I don't know what it is, but it's like, I feel like there is a part of witchcraft that attracts some people who are insecure, who are using this practice as a way to feel empowered. And when people lash out at other people, it's usually because they've identified that person as a threat, right? Like, you know, there's a coffee shop in Toronto that had its like window broken a few years back, and where most people would be like crying about it, this guy like posed by it, you know, and was like, the caption was like, if you don't have haters, you ain't poppin'. And like I had to laugh because like it's such a positive attitude to have, and it's such a resilient way to think about something that's like objectively inconvenient and like annoying and costly, but it's also true, right? And I think that's part of what this whole like constant witch war bullshit is about. It's people identifying others as threats and lashing out at them in order to like take away their power. Like I think that's often what these witch war things are about. And unfortunately, I don't think this is just an online thing. Like this is a totally in-person witch community thing. At least in Toronto, it is for sure. I don't live in Salem and I've never been to Salem, but I've heard it also is the case in Salem. If anyone lives there or whatever, please correct me if that's wrong, because I don't know. I'm just kind of working off of what I've heard with that. But I know in Toronto for sure, it is like dramatic. Like no one likes each other. And it's just like so hyper competitive. And it's so like not how I would ever want it to be. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's really depressing to me, really. And I do feel like there is something about witchcraft specifically that makes it hard for for a healthy community space to develop. And it breaks my heart so much because like, imagine how much good could be done personally, interpersonally, like globally, etc. Like if witches were better at coming together and being friends rather than cursing each other or any crazy shit. Like I have had people in the city curse me actually, it's like a while ago. And undoing that magical work was really annoying. And I wish it wasn't like that. And it's just so common. And most people I've talked to, like I've had really similar experiences, whether it's in Toronto or online or whatever. And like you guys probably will notice there's not very many like witchy people I repost on Instagram anymore, like if any, because most folks just are behaving in ways that I can't stand behind. And it's just like a bummer. It's just a bummer. It's just a bummer. I'm trying to think what else did I want to say about this topic. Yeah, I just think it's unfortunate. I'm going to pull some cards, see what the cards say. Let's see. It's funny because, and if you guys have been in my space for 10 years or so, some of you guys I know have been here that long, you'll know that my only failed spell was for witchy community to just find one that already existed, and the candle would not stay lit. It just kept dying. And so what I got from that is like, okay, if you want this, you're going to have to create it yourself. It's the only way it's going to happen. And that is the only way it's happened, unfortunately. So it's like, be the change you want to see, create the change you want to see. And I just wish people were less competitive and more collaborative. Like I wish people were more curious and less accusatory. And that is just not what I'm seeing in space these days. And it's just such a bummer. And I just think everyone is just like fighting each other for power. And it's so lame. It's like, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel better now? You just called me some crazy names in my DMs. Like, you really thought you did something by insulting me in my DMs? It's like so strange. And like, I've gotten some insane DMs and I'm not going to share them, you know, because like, I just don't think these people deserve that, you know? And I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, I would have been like, yeah, I'm going to share like this. I can't believe this person said this to me, blah, blah, blah. Look at this meanie face person. And, you know, but all that really does is just allow that person to get clout and eyeballs from sucking from my audience. It becomes a form of like energy vampirism, in my opinion. And so a lot of your favorite witches on the internet have become as big as they are via energy vampirism from basically sucking up eyeballs from people that they call names and argue with online. Isn't that interesting? It's just sad. Like, what a sad way to live. Like, just go out and touch grass, create something. You know, like I would rather spend my time at the gym, painting, drawing, working on my next book, working with clients, than arguing with idiots on the internet. Like, so strange. I wish more people felt that way. They really think that arguing on the internet is like doing something. Very weird. So I've got 2 cards here, and I've got a 3rd card. All cups, which is interesting. Got a 6, an 8, and a 9. So let's talk about these cards in relation to the topic. All cups. Here we go. Interesting. All cups. Mostly even numbers. And even the 9 is an interesting odd number because it's like can be exactly split into 3, right? So we do have a theme here around balance, even though there's a 9. Like I would say the 9 is the most balanced odd number, I would say. And so what do we take from this? We take from this that this topic is very emotional. We've got all the cups here, no other suits, no major arcana. And the lack of major arcana also tells us that this is not a big fucking deal. You know? Let this shit be small potatoes, which it is. And the cups is like, it's going to hit us emotionally for anyone who is hit by this fucking craziness. And I would also say that it means that these folks are allowing their emotions to just be unbridled in a way, like unrestrained. So there's a lack of emotional regulation, which is interesting. And it's just so sad because I feel like emotional regulation and like that should be a skill that witches have. You know, one of the definitions of witchcraft is the ability to change consciousness at will. Consciousness also means like mood, also means mindset, also means our vibe. So changing consciousness at will, right? if I'm highly activated as a witch, I have those skills to kind of downregulate, right? And I think a lot of these folks acting out this way online just like don't have that ability for whatever reason, and or they just have not cultivated their witchcraft practice enough to be able to regulate their emotions and realize that online arguments are just kind of a waste of time. I also feel like people are doing it because unhealed childhood trauma. Like for me, this is the childhood trauma card and the trauma loop card. And the reversal means that this is like these folks are in like a bad trauma loop. They're just little children. They are just acting like kids. Basically, they're reenacting their childhood trauma behaviors towards other people on the internet. And that's what the haters are doing with their stupid witch war crap. It's their way to feel important when they probably did not feel important as children, which is probably why they're behaving that way. So I love this. This is like the walk away card, which is what I've been doing. You guys will probably notice I do not argue on the internet anymore. I will have a pleasant discussion and debate if someone's able to do so respectfully, but almost nobody is. So I just don't. I say what I have to say, and that's it. This is the walk away card, otherwise known as the breakup card. Upright. Just walk away. I love that. This makes sense. 9 of Cups reversed. It's also a pretty happy card, even when it's reversed. You know? This is like the wishes granted, happy vibes card. The reversal is like, let's not let it dampen our day. You know, we're still having a good time. So I love what this is like. I love this reading. And what's really interesting is that these two jumped out as I was talking before, and then I pulled this one a little bit later. So to me, this really does encapsulate like what is going on with these people. Really unfortunate for them. So that's that. That is that. How fun. Now there's a few people watching. Anyone have any thoughts? And if not, that is okay. But I feel like these cards are so spot on. But what I would like to say is, like, imagine what witchcraft community online would be like if people did not do this, like, witch war stuff. Because, like, God knows, there's been a lot of stupid opinions that I've seen online, and I just didn't comment on. I didn't send the person DMs. I just like kept scrolling. Or I made some content of my own that did not name the person, but addressed the ideas. And I think that's what we all need to focus on more is ideas, creation, not destruction. I'm not interested in destroying anyone else. I really am not, which is why I'm not naming anybody. You know, if you know, you know, but if you don't, then consider yourself lucky. And it's not really what it's about, like at all. You know, it's about discussing these ideas and analyzing like what is the state of the community online and what can we do differently. And for myself, like a part of that is like practicing what I preach in terms of just like not participating in like these really silly ways of behaving when we're literally grown adults. Like I would much rather spend my time like doing this little video for you guys or working with clients or, you know. So I don't know if you guys can see. So this is full of my next book to ship off. And so I'll show you guys. It's kind of heavy. So I already did my first shipment yesterday of my new book, Body Magic. And you guys can kind of see. This box is for a bookstore in California, which is going to be the only bookstore to have it. There's some other little yellow ones up here too. And so these are all to the post office. So I would rather be making new books and just creating something than wasting my time bitching on the internet. It seems very silly. And the reason I'm pointing this out now here is because I feel like a lot of people who are just like consumers of witchy content, maybe you're not really witchy, maybe you're kind of thinking about being witchy and you're kind of not too sure like who you should be following or whatever. I'm not going to give any names of like who is good and who is bad, but like what I want to say is like pay attention to like, are they constantly dragging other people's names through the mud or not? Are they talking about ideas or are they talking about people? Are they analyzing structures of behavior and patterns and self-improvement and positivity, or are they always just like destroying and destructing other people and being jerk faces? So just something to think about, and I do talk about this in a little bit more depth in my second book, Curse and Cure, Magic for Real Life, because there is a section on like, okay, you're thinking of joining a coven or a spiritual group. Here are some things you should ask yourself and like consider as you're figuring out like what groups you want to belong to and like who you want to engage with, because these unhealthy interpersonal dynamics are unfortunately so common within the witchy space. And if you notice that you are following like people who position themselves as leaders who are just like putting down other people, like, you know, by name, like I think it's critique is all fine. Like I think critique is part of what makes the world go round. But if someone is constantly just like shutting down, like without providing an alternative way of moving in the world, then I would really consider like if that's a healthy space to be. Obviously, everyone's different. Everyone's got a different practice, and like I respect that. But my practice does not involve taking a shit on people's heads. You know, it just doesn't. It's much more focused on like my ancestors, my art, my own healing, like my spirits that I work with, all of that stuff, like building relationships with the land that I live on. You know, all of that stuff is super, I would say, healing and productive. And if that's where you want your practice to go, like, hello, you're welcome here. And I've got some books about that shit, especially my second one. But that's all I'm going to say for now, I think. That's all I'm going to say. I think I'm so disappointed in the community that this is still how a lot of people behave. And I just think it's so unfortunate. Because imagine how creative the witchcraft community online could be if more people were interested in collaboration and curiosity. Rather than making posts that, you know, talk shit about people's practice. Like, you know, I'm just so sick of it. So who knows? And next week will either be about how witchcraft is for everybody, or it will be more about specifically the history of witchcraft. I don't know yet. We'll see. Maybe both. Yeah, so feel free to go look at that controversial reel. Very controversial. And let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this format. You guys have been quiet on the chat today, which is totally fine. Let me know if you guys enjoy this format or not, or whatever. And I'm sure that will kind of come out in time as people either engage or don't, and that's totally cool. But I just wanted to kind of get this thought out in the world and just have discussions about what is going on in the community, online and in general. And yeah, that's it. That's my speech for today. Happy Sunday, you guys. Happy Sunday. Do something nice for yourself. Do something spiritual. Light some candles, take a bath, go out for a walk, get to know your local land spirits. It's a beautiful day for that. At least here in Toronto, it's like a bazillion degrees. I'm like sweating like buckets. You guys can probably see. So I'm going to be going outside and just enjoying the sun, enjoying the land, enjoying the fucking nature and beautiful life that we have. So this is the other thing too. Life is beautiful. Like our time here is finite. I would rather spend it, not to sound like a fucking hippie, but like spreading love and good vibes and just being encouraging and helping people heal and all of that, rather than like wasting my time talking shit about some random person. Like, why? Like, let's just all focus on healing and positivity. And like, if people are behaving in weird ways, like we can just actually opt out. You know, just because someone is calling you names on the internet doesn't mean that you have to participate. Just because someone says like, how dare you silence me, blah, 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 which people have said to me, it's like, it doesn't mean that you have to be sucked in to their dysfunction. It doesn't mean that you do. You can just opt out. And this is the case for your family, weird friends, a crappy partner. You can opt out of drama. It doesn't mean that you're being avoidant. It just means that you're setting standards of like healthy behavior. Like if you're not going to talk to me in a healthy, respectful way, we're not having a conversation. Done. Bye. Right? Focus on your healing, focus on positivity, focus on good, happy, healthy, constructive relationships where people are curious about you and you're actually able to have differences of opinion and still be friends at the end of the day. Like those relationships are so much more interesting than an echo chamber. And furthermore, an echo chamber where you have to like say the party line or else you're going to be excommunicated and you have to like walk on eggshells. A lot of like the cliques of online famous witch people are like that. Ask me how I know. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Have a good day, my friends. I hope you guys are just going to enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later. Have a lovely day and much love. Bye.